So you have an HVAC business, you want to grow it, or maybe you've recently started, so you're a bit confused about the whole lead generation world. I was exactly the same. So I had an HVAC business for 10 years. It started super small. This was in the early days, so this is like 2007, 2008. I got going on mine, and it was an absolute grind at first. So it got so slow at the beginning, I took to picking up the phone and cold calling people to get it going. But eventually, we discovered digital marketing. We got deep into all the different kinds of digital marketing. So I would still strongly recommend that for just about anybody doing anything with home services, really. It applies to about 35 different industries. But I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what there is to think about with home services. So um, there's sort of three big realms with home services, three buckets that you generally are looking at. So and some of them you don't want to put too much time, attention, energy into. So one is web infrastructure. So if you're looking at this, it's like having a website is important, but the problem with a website is if you're going after social search engine optimization, it kind of doesn't matter as much anymore for local services, even if you're ranking like number one. I'll pull up a search here. Vancouver AC. I'm in the Vancouver area at the moment, and you'll be able to see why it doesn't matter that much anymore. So usually at the top, you're going to see you're going to see local service ads. I've searched this too many times, so it's not popping up. So local service ads probably burn up. Like if I go to like say Seattle, is that going to burn up something different? But yeah, so usually it's local service ads. Below that, you have local service ads probably takes about a third of all the traffic. Below that, you're going to have conventional ads. These conventional ads take about a third of all the traffic. Below that, you're going to have some AI generated questions. Those take a certain percentage of it. Below that, you're going to have map searches. Map searches chew up just about everything else. They say, okay, well, what area am I in? Then they're going to pick something based on map searches. And then if they happen to get lower than that, and you happen to be ranked like number one or number two, they might click on you. And you're down to like, 5%. We had a site in Chicago, so population 10 million people, make it to number one on, organic rankings. And then we tracked the phone calls. It was like three a month. It got like three phone calls a month being number one in a 10 million greater Chicago population. So my point is, don't worry too much about focusing on SEO. So yes, you need a website. It's got to look good. With our plans, we usually just throw in like a website for free if you're doing some other services with us. Have a website. Don't spend a pile of money on search engine optimization. That's kind of dead. So web is be online, be present, treat it like an online business card, but stop worrying about trying to get it in and of itself generating leads. It's kind of a longer term play, if anything. So that basically leaves you with two areas. So one is social media leads. So social media leads are still the least expensive lead. There's issues with social media leads. They're harder to contact in comparison to Google ads. But if you're getting the leads for cheap enough, and we'll jump into that next, if you're getting the leads cheap enough, who cares if you're getting bad leads? Who cares if 25% of them you can't get a hold of or they're going to be out of area or whatever else? If you're getting them cheap enough, it really doesn't matter. So the best quality leads you're going to get right now is Google ads. So Google paid ads, which is the same thing that we had pulled up here a second ago. So these ads. So these are scalable. Your cost per lead is going to be higher, but they're people literally typing in, new HVAC installation, whatever city that you're in. So those are kind of like the big three. This makes up probably 85% of the whole lead acquisition world for HVAC, and the rest of it is not as important. So just to kind of give you an idea, so we run ads in a ton of different states, but picking a state, um, you know, whatever, pick a random one. So it's like, this is the type of thing that you can get from social media ads. So, you know, this ad ran for a while, 188 plus 50 plus 49, whatever that comes out to, 100 and 280 leads coming in at like 20 bucks a pop. They're not always going to come in this cheap. You're not actually paying Facebook and Instagram for leads, you're paying them for exposure. So every time that you spend, let's say you're spending 25 bucks a day, they're going to show your ads to X number of people. Our job is to put the right ad in front of them and then, in all the different formats. So it's like one ad comes in a pile of different sort of like layouts and formats and setups, depending on if it's Instagram or Facebook and the different kind of formats and stuff like that. So as long as you're doing it right, you can get a high flow of inexpensive leads. And if you're getting them cheap, who cares? Who cares if some of them, you're going to be throwing away. So, um, to kind of give you an idea of just like how many, these are all different HVAC ads that we've ran in different parts, most of the US, some in Canada, some in the Caribbean, but we've ran thousands and thousands and thousands of ads, HVAC ads, all over the place. So a big difference with like a lot of companies will say, hey, we'll launch you up an ad. Great. So they're going to launch you an ad, but you're paying them, maybe you're going to save a few bucks because they're doing it cheap and they're working from some little spot. But what matters is the ads are going to hit issues. So social media ads in general are great. They can produce cheap leads, but every 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to run into different sorts of issues where you're getting too many leads from a certain area, or the lead count drops, or some other issue pops up. And if you haven't had the experience and they don't have the background in how to fix that, that's where you start running into problems. So we got a team here that can fix all that kind of stuff, or that we've been through. We've seen every problem repeatedly in basically every market. So then the other thing that you can do is essentially Google Ads, and I'll show you kind of what the difference is with Google Ads. Give me a second here. Consults. Just give me 1 second. This is a non-edited video, so roofing ads. This is where people are rapidly tuning out as I'm searching for what the hell I was going to show people. Probably should have had it pulled up before. So with Google Ads, Google Ads are like a slower burn. So it's like we'll launch a campaign and then it might get like a couple of leads in like a relatively short period of time. And then it takes like sometimes a couple of months for it to sort of settle in. So at first, and that's where you got to be able to stick with it over a period of time. So at first, the lead cost, it might be hovering more expensive, might be 80 bucks, might be whatever, it could be 120 bucks or whatever else. But then over time, it starts trending down. And then once it gets consistent, so this is a bunch of results from like 2025, it gets super consistent. So these are like, 563-second calls. So whatever that is, like 10-minute phone calls from a Google ad, and they're setting up a time to come out and give a quote for a new air conditioner or whatever else. So 357 seconds, 344 seconds. So Google Ads can be awesome. The one thing to keep in mind is it will take longer. It will take more time for it to kind of settle in. So usually what we suggest to people is get a social media campaign, as long as you have the budget for both. They both need like a separate budget, but you can even spend 25, 30 bucks a day on social media is good enough. YouTube is the next kind of frontier. We're working on different YouTube ads, but you need to probably spend at least $75 a day on Google, and you got to leave it running for like a long period of time. And it takes time for it to go through this learning phase before like the cost per lead starts to drop. So those are just like some quick, interesting things. That there's a lot of confusion, around what people think. Okay, well, should I do radio ads or this or 10 other things? And the truth is, the internet has gobbled up almost all of it, right? So it's like 80%, 85, 90% sometimes are going to come from the internet. So you might as well be there, you might as well be good at it, and then narrowly focus your ad dollars on what's actually going to move the needle. So, for instance, focusing on service work generally is a bad idea because it's going to end up costing you too much per lead and you're not going to make money in the short term. as a previous HVAC business owner, like all that really matters is what's going to make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. I always like to focus on residential replacement installations because you sell it, you go back there 2 days later, you put it in, you put the money in your bank like that night. So, um, commercial work, industrial work, it's really resistant to ads. It's more of a relationship based thing. So, I wouldn't suggest in going towards that. I'd put all your eggs in the basket of going towards replacement installation. There's X millions changed out every single year. The work is there. You just need to be in front of it. If you're a smaller company, you got to be more aggressive on prices. If you're a bigger company, you need to, that's where you can get pickier with the leads and you can waste more leads going after the highest ticket things. So that's just a quick hits list of the stuff that you got to think about with digital marketing for 2025. It's still all about, going after leads via social media, Instagram, Facebook for your less expensive leads, Google for your more expensive leads. We've tested TikTok and Twitter and all the other ones. I think YouTube has the most hope as kind of a next platform. We've found that lead cost is even more expensive. You're probably 100 to 150 bucks, but they get to know you more on the video as they're watching it. So you end up getting pretty high quality of leads. And they're also a lot higher production. So, preferably we want you as the owner to begin the ads. I'd suggest that across the board. Put yourself in your website, put yourself in your social media, let people get to know you with your marketing, and you're going to get a lot more leads from it. But click the link below, have a time, chat with us, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.